Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So this is episode 2 of Birthing Purpose podcast with me, Casey Ann Crossdale. So this is the second episode. Listen, I'm so excited and I just want to say big up to all those who have listened, those who have shared, those who have commented, those who have subscribed. God bless you all. Big up on yourself. I hope that episode 1 blessed you, and I hope that you are anticipating and looking forward to episode 2. So this week we are looking on the topic of pain. So this episode is going to be focusing on pain. I'm going to share always these dogs interrupting me. I'm not about to do over this video, so I'm going to upload this with the dogs. It's my neighbor's dogs, and I'm telling you that never used to have this before, but since I've been recording, every time I'm recording, the dogs over there making noise. When I'm not recording, the dog will not make no noise. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, guys, episode 2 was a bit touching for me, and I hope that as you listen that there is something in it that you will be able to relate with, that even if you're going through the same thing, or you have gone through the same thing, and you're still in that process of healing, or right now you are going through something painful. I hope that this will encourage you, and that this will motivate you. So that is that. Episode 2 is also an audio. If you listened to episode 1 last week, I would have told you that for right now the episodes are going to be audio. I haven't really started video podcasting as yet. I plan to as soon as possible, but for now it is audio. So right following this, I have inserted the audio. So you guys listening on episode 2, let me know what you think about it. Leave a comment, like the video, share it, and until next week, 7 p.m. again, next week Sunday. God bless you all, and welcome to the Purpose family.
There are almost 8 billion people in the world today. Everyone is unique. Everyone is special. But very few people ever realizes their full potential. How do you find yourself in such a chaotic, fast-paced world where everyone is looking for meaning, significance, and a sense of purpose, and yet discover your own? Welcome to Birthing Purpose podcast with me, Casey Ann Crossdale. This channel is focused on helping you find your true, authentic self. While everyone else is competing, comparing, and compromising their character, I am here to help you find your true identity and hone your differences. Hello, friends. Welcome to Birthing Purpose podcast with me, your host, Casey Ann Crossdale. Wow, this is episode 2. I am quite excited and thankful. I just want to thank every person who downloaded the podcast, who watched by YouTube, or listened wherever you listen to your podcast. Those who liked, those who commented, those who left a review. I want to say thank you so very much for your support. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, you can head on over to YouTube, search Birthing Purpose Podcast with Casey, And of course, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel. When you do listen by way of your podcasting platforms, remember to follow the show so you can be notified each time a new episode goes live. Also, leave a review so that I may know how each episode impacts your life. This week's episode is focused on the topic pain. Now, the main topic for this season is becoming your true self. And in episode 1, I shared a bit of my story. And so, if you listen to episode 1, I believe I made mention of the fact that I lost my mom in 2016. And I did say that when we are looking at the episode of pain, I would go into details about that. And so I will be sharing about that in this episode. But before we even go there, I want to, take you guys on a journey with me. So I'm going to go way back to a time even before I was born, because we're speaking about pain, and there is just so much that I could talk about where pain is concerned. So, firstly, Barrington says that for those who think they know but don't know that they don't know, we tend to assume a lot, and a lot of times our assumptions are wrong. I'm saying this to say that a lot of persons, I'm sure, may be shocked after listening to this episode. Why? Because what I'm going to discuss next. So firstly, I was conceived out of wedlock, and my parents, they're not married. So my mom was married, but she was married to my stepdad, not to my biological father. And so the story was told that my father never wanted me. I want to say that they were at a very rocky place in their relationship at the time that I was conceived, and my father never wanted me. I was told that my father came to the hospital, he looked at me, and he left. But before I continue, I just want to fast forward to 2019. And for those of you who have been following me and listening, you would know how significant the year 2019 is in my life. This is the year that, my life really changed for the better. This is the year I recommitted my life to the Lord. And so in 2019, my church that I attend now had a tarrying service. And for those who may not know what a tarrying service is, so it's one of those services that you dedicate to spending time in God's presence, seeking Him for empowerment through the infilling of the Holy Spirit. Excuse me. And so for me at that time, I was not yet filled. And so, of course, I was a part of, those who were tarrying. But I'd recently committed my life to the Lord a couple months in, and I was really desperate. I was at a point of desperation for God, hearing from God, living for God. And I went there with an expectation, and I remember the guest speaker was this lady. I don't remember her name right now. She's a prophet, and she was the guest speaker. And as she was there ministering, I remember just speaking to God in my heart. And, I was saying, God, I really need to hear from you. Give this lady a word for me. Prove yourself to me tonight in a tangible way. And as she was there, she was sharing a testimony, and her testimony resonated with me very well. She was speaking about disobedience, something that she did, and, the price that she had to pay. And after she was finished, she pointed to me and she called me to the front. Now you guys can just imagine how I felt being called up in that moment, right? And joy filled my heart, and I went up there and she said these words to me. She said, "You are going to be delivered from anger tonight." And if you listen to episode 1, I made mention of all the rage and the bitterness and the heavy weight that I used to carry around. And so she said that you're going to be delivered from anger, and she said it's not your fault, you're not to be blamed. It has nothing to do with you. And she said to me, your mom carried you angrily, and my spirit kind of just bear witness with everything that she was saying. And I was just there crying and stuff, and that night happened and everything with that night took place. So now we can go back. So yes, so my father never wanted me, came to the hospital, looked at me and left. And so my mom was angry, and she was bitter with all of that pain and perhaps resentment, and I was carried into all of that. And so there was birthed in my life a spirit of pain and rejection. And so believe me when I say that pain is something that was evident in my life even as a child, growing up. And even here, I would like to recall the story of Jabez in 1 Chronicles 4:9-10. And I know it's just 2 verses and we can easily overlook it, but it's one of those stories in the Bible that really, really resonates with me well. And it says that Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. His mother had named him Jabez because Jabez means pain, and she said, I gave birth to him in pain. But Jabez was not willing to accept that. And I wish I have some listeners, even now, who are like Jabez, who are not willing to accept your present circumstance. Jabez cried out to the Lord, asking God to bless him and to enlarge his territory and to let his hand be with him and to keep him from harm so that he would be free from pain. And of course, God heard him and God granted his request. And I just want to encourage someone, even in this moment, to cry out to God. It doesn't matter what the situation is, what circumstance you find yourself in currently that seems painful, and it may seem dead, it seems like it's hopeless. I just want to say to you, cry out to God, the one who has both the authority and the ability to do whatever we ask according to his will. There's a scripture that tells us that he can do far more abundantly above anything that we could ever ask or think or imagine. So I just want to say to someone, cry out to God. He is the one that can change. He can change the situation. And so cry out to him today. So now I want to take us, through the details of me losing my mom. So in 2016, I was in college, was about to go into my second year, I believe, and is it not my second year or my third year? I don't remember, to be honest. I think it's my second year, but yeah. And I had begun in my first year to do the work and travel program, and so I wanted to continue. And so in May, my mom took me to the airport. I hugged her and kissed her, and we said our goodbyes. And little did I know that this was actually goodbye. Like, I was never going to see my mom to hold her and to embrace her and to tell her how much I love her in person. Like, this was really goodbye. And given the relationship that I have with my mom, we have a bond that is so close, so unbreakable. And I was like her handbag. Everywhere that she was going, she'd take me and would speak every day, except the day when my mom passed away. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we did not speak at all on the day that she passed away. And I remember I had 2 jobs. I'd gone to my first job, and it was time for me to go to my second job. I hadn't eaten for the entire day. The day it just felt off. I couldn't put my finger on why, but it felt off. And I said to myself that I was going to get food before I head to my second job, because my second job would begin at 5, but I had some time. So I got the food and I went to my second job. I was still early. My shift did not begin until 5, and it wasn't 5 as yet. While I was there, we have a family group, and my big brother, I was away, and my 2 older sisters, they were also away abroad. We weren't in Jamaica, and my big brother, he was here, and he sent a message in the group to say that he heard that my mom and my little sister were in an accident. He says it is bad and he's on his way to the hospital. Now, in that moment, all I could think of, how people have no respect for privacy and those stuff. I did not want to go on the internet and see a video or anything of my loved ones or anybody to send me anything. And so I began to pray immediately. I remember praying, and asking God, please don't take my mom, don't take my little sister, don't let them die. And I started to call my mom's phone, sending her messages. I remember saying, Mommy, make sure that you're okay. Mommy, make sure that you don't die. Mommy, I cannot lose you. And all of that. And I was reaching out to people that, my friends and stuff who were in Jamaica, asking them to try to, see if they get through to my mom or find any information. And as I was there on the cold, dirty floor of Subway in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, I laid there on the floor. I got the message that my mom did not make it. And I remember just walking out of Subway. It was raining, and I was out there in the rain. I was numb. I was completely numb. I was not feeling anything. I can't remember if I was crying, but I just knew that I felt numb. And I was just out there in the rain until they came and they got me and they took me home. And I was there, talking to my family and stuff. And I got the news now. They were trying to hide it from me, actually. I think I saw it on my friend's phone or something. I don't remember, because they tried to take my phone away from me. They were trying to hide this part from me, that Auntie Molly also passed away. Now, what happened is that my mom and the 2 other church sisters and my little sister were on their way to get some gifts for church. They were going to have Sunday school anniversary, and so they were tasked to get the gifts for the children and stuff. So they were on their way to do that, and my mom and Auntie Molly did not make it out of the accident. And my little sister and Sister Grinham is her name, made it. And so they were saying that Auntie Molly died too. And when I heard that, I completely lost it. I remember getting out of the house. The house where I was staying was up a hill, and I remember just dashing down the hill. I don't know why I was running. I don't know where I was running to, but I just began to run, and I ran and I ran, and they ran after me. They were coming after me, chasing me, until they finally caught up with me, and they took me back home. And I think they gave me some sleeping pills and stuff, and I slept, and it was just horrible. I had to return home, and I remember coming home. I just had to see my mom. I needed to see her in that state. It's like I almost didn't believe, and I needed to believe. And so as I got off the plane, I said that I wanted to go to the funeral home. And I remember going to the funeral home to see my mom. I went to the funeral home. I saw her, and I was just crushed. I was crushed. I was broken. I felt like somebody ripped my heart into two pieces. And amidst all that, looking at her, I saw this peace, I saw this glow, and I can't begin to explain it. I don't know if anybody else was seeing what I was seeing. And it kind of gave me, in the midst of all that I was feeling, it kind of gave me comfort. And I remember going to the accident scene, and I think that was probably the most painful part of it for me, seeing the bus, and just, I don't know why I'd put myself through all of that, imagining all that she had gone through, because they said that she was pinned between the bus and a tree. And I just imagine all that. I went there, found her phone case, and listen, I felt rage, I felt anger, I felt hate, I felt pain. Like, I can't begin to explain all I felt. And I remember getting home. My grandmother had come to the family house. She was there, and I remember just melting away in her arms and just crying. And went through all of that, buried my mom, and I did not know what to do with myself. I had school. I told myself, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to fail out. I'm going to be a failure because I can't do this. I can't concentrate. I can't focus. And it was just horrible. And because of all of that, I just began to look comfort, and unfortunately in the wrong places and with the wrong people. And I remember I just explored. I just did things that helped me to suppress what I was feeling. I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't know how to cope with it. I remember trying counseling. I went one time and I never went back. And so, I drank, I partied, I was in a relationship, I fornicated, just all manner of things, I was doing, and I still felt empty. I still felt broken. I would still bawl, nighttime and daytime. I would just cry, and it's like I couldn't find comfort enough to take away all that I was feeling. And 2016, 2017 passed, 2018, and it was not until 2019. And if you've been following me and you've been listening to the episodes, then you know how significant the year 2019 is in my life. And for me, that's the year when so much changed for the better in my life. That's the year when I surrendered to God and recommitted my life to Him and gave Him control, and He really healed me. He really transformed my life, renewed my mindset, restored my hope, and just embraced me with His love and compassion and everything. I remember listening to the funeral service of Tony Evans' wife, and it was the son who was sharing the word. And this was something that really uplifted me in that moment. I really needed to hear it because it ministered to me so deeply and helped to change my perspective of how I was thinking and feeling about the passing of my mom. And he said that as he was there hurting and questioning God finally responded to him and said that, how dare you question me or even be upset about losing your mom when I gave you my only begotten son? Like, I gave up my son for you so that you could live, so that you could be free, so that you could receive salvation. And he said that God said to him that it's either your mom was going to live or live. It's either she was going to be with family or be with family, and all of that. And I'm not here to tell you that I have found the answer. I don't know why my mom had to pass away the time that she passed away, the way that she passed away. It was something that God had to really deal with me on and heal me, because I was so broken and I just could not understand it. Why my mom? Why in that time? And if you know anything about me and my siblings, man, our mom was our hero. And I was thinking that now that we're finally in a position that we can appreciate her the way that she deserves to be appreciated, where we can help her, and where we can take her out and shower her with the gifts and everything that we wanted her to have. I was saying, God, why no? Why did she have to be taken away from us in this time? And so I went through all of that. But what God gave me is peace and comfort, understanding that it's either she was going to be here with us, being with us, she'd be with family, and being taken up, she'd be with family. And if she was here with us, she would have lived, and her being taken, she will live eternally. And I'm telling you that was something that just ministered to me so deeply, and gave me this comfort, even though I was going through all of what I was going through. And as I opened up to God, the Bible tells you that, behold, God come at your heart door and knock. Him not force himself in. He's not a thief, right? He's a gentleman. And so he comes and he knocks and you have to open. And the moment I began to open up to him, just surrendering to his will and to his leading, God began to just heal my heart. As I spent time in his word, in prayer, in fasting, he began to reveal his love to me over and over in different ways. And, I went through all of that. I went through heartbreaks, being in the wrong relationships, and, betrayal from friends, people who I love, people who I cared about, people who I would give my last. I went through all of that, and it took God for me not to resent people and for me not to hate people, because I was going through so much. And it's just the heart that God gave me, that I am always willing to help, right? I don't like to know that people are suffering and I cannot help them, and I am very forgiving. And being all that, it would cause me so much pain, and God had to deal with me, and there are moments that I really had to just guard my heart, and he was teaching me how to do all of these things. And I just pause to say to somebody who is going through a situation right now where you're questioning God, how could you allow this to happen? Maybe you lost a parent, maybe you lost a child, maybe you lost a loved one, maybe you lost a friend, and you are going through all of that, and you're questioning God, if you are real, God, if you are God, if you are just, how could you allow all of this to happen? I'm saying to you today that really surrender your heart to God, and all of these things, all of these questions that you have, he is willing to respond to you. He is willing to respond to you, but you have to listen. You can't just go to him with your requests, and you can't just go to him, and you have to be careful about the posture of your heart when you go to God as well, because you can't bad him up. God don't take bad up. You understand, right? And I want to leave these points with us as well, that even as you go through pain and hurt and all of that, allow yourself to sit in the emotion and be honest to God about the way that you are feeling, right? Be honest to God about the way that you are feeling and allow him to heal you, right? I went through a point of my life where, had it not been for God, I don't know what I would have done, because I don't know for people, but I was at a point where I actually began to hate myself. Like I started to hate myself, and God had to reveal his love to me, and his love began to manifest in me. And so another thing is that you have to let the people that hurt you know. Don't assume that they know. And even if you think that you know that they know, still tell them. Because you have to forgive. You have to forgive, and it's not for the person, but it is for you. Forgiveness is a part of healing. And so you have to forgive and make peace with that person or that thing that caused the pain in the first place. And understanding that even the people that betray us, they are a part of the plan. And you can go to the story of Joseph, for example, with Potiphar's wife. When Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to sleep with her after his brothers had slaved him, his very brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery. And now Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to sleep with her, but Joseph feared God and would not do it, right? And so he was put into prison, but that was all a part of the plan. What is important is what was mentioned in the story of Joseph, that God was with him and God gave him favor. Even in prison, God gave him favor with the prison guard, and he was made the head of all of the prisoners. And so once God is with you, it is enough. We also must know that there is nothing that we do that can stop God's sovereign will in our life. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 19:21, I believe, that many are the plans or the desires of a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purposes that prevail. His ultimate plan, we can't change it. Not through disobedience, not through sin. There's nothing that we can do that can derail God's ultimate plan for our life. Also, allow the space between where you are now and where you want to be to inspire you rather than to terrify you. While I was growing up, I was ashamed of the fact that my biological father was not in my life. I did not like it at all, and it's something that I did not share, that I would hide, and I would pretend as though, I had my father, he was there, he was present. I never spoke to the fact that, he was not there, it was my stepfather, and, the whole works, because I was ashamed of it for whatever reason. I did not like the idea of it. Right? But we must understand that life is a journey and it's not a destination, and whatever you're going through, it will pass. Nothing lasts forever but salvation. And in closing, to really have someone hear what you are saying, they have to listen to you with their heart and not just their ears. And it's the same thing with God. Listening with your heart is important to God. Unless you open your mind and listen with your heart, you won't really know or understand what God wants to tell you, because He is always speaking. God is always speaking to us. But in order for us to hear what God is saying, we have to listen to Him, not just with our ears, but also with our hearts. And I leave with us this scripture from Proverbs 8:34 that says, "Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors." Wait upon the Lord. Wait upon Him and listen to what He has to say to you. Next week, we will be looking at the topic of fear. I trust and hope that you have been blessed by this week's episode. Until next week, this is Birthing Purpose with Casey. Walk good and take care of yourself.